Fans never realized how difficult the circumstances surrounding Jim Jones' arrest, Chrissy Lankin's response, and the aftermath would be. What she disclosed about the scenario will astound you. Following his recent arrest, the renowned rapper and reality TV personality Jim Jones was at the heart of a media frenzy. The rapper's longtime lover, Chrissy Lankin, is now talking about the dramatic arrest that shattered their world after years of silence. Why has she held off on sharing her side of the tale until now? And what did she actually know? His longtime companion, Chrissy Lankin, stayed silent, seemingly unaffected, as the world watched, guessing and talking about the reasons for his incarceration. However, everyone was curious as to why she hadn't spoken out. While the headlines shouted that Jim Jones had been jailed, one key player stayed remarkably silent during the entire event. Chrissy Lankin and Jim Jones have been a feature of reality TV for almost a decade. The sequence of events leading up to Jim Jones' arrest and how Chrissy's quiet sparked a lot of conjecture will be discussed in today's video. More significantly, though, we'll explore the reasons behind Chrissy's decision to stand up at the age of 53. Chrissy was a popular character on Love and Hip Hop New York because she was a strong and independent lady. Fans were left in the dark by her silence during the arrest. Was there something more going on here, or did she would rather not be a part of the media frenzy? Everything started on a disastrous day when word of Jim Jones' surprise arrest surfaced, shocking the world and his admirers alike. Jim, who is well known for his illustrious hip-hop career with the Diplomats, had always kept his personal life largely private. But this arrest was unusual and rocked the entertainment scene. What actually occurred was that Jim Jones was arrested under grave. The specifics of the arrest were originally unclear, but the allegations ranged from obstruction to matters pertaining to an ongoing inquiry. Left many pondering the precise circumstances surrounding this pivotal moment in Jim's career. This arrest was a total setback for Jim, who had built a solid reputation as a wise businessman and a well-respected personality in the music industry. More shocking than the arrest itself was Chrissy's silence. Fans have been used to her direct, commanding style over the years. She had dealt with many scandals and issues on her own and had never hesitated to confront them. So why didn't Chrissy speak out when the man she's been seeing for more than 15 years was involved in such a severe situation? His professional and personal life, which had been deeply intertwined with his partner, Chrissy Lankin, was left up for speculation by fans. Chrissy seemed to retreat into quiet for the first time in her public life. Confusion and speculations were stoked by this quiet, and fans couldn't help but wonder what Chrissy was involved in. Did she acknowledge that the general public was unaware of? Was she concerned? As word of Jim's arrest went viral on social media, Chrissy remained silent, which led to a barrage of inquiries regarding her response. During this time of quiet, fans began making assumptions on social media, with some even predicting that Chrissy and Jim would be splitting up. The level of public scrutiny was so intense that it was hard to imagine she had not been affected. Chrissy, as usual, chose to let her social media activities speak for themselves and declined to comment. Although she didn't express it directly, there were several posts that seemed to express her dissatisfaction. According to Crazy Rumors, media sources started posting speculative articles about their relationship and asked why Chrissy wasn't standing up for Jim. People wanted to know more about Chrissy's part and whether or not their relationship could survive such a big controversy. So it was clear that the arrest itself wasn't the only thing on their minds. Chrissy posted strange content for almost 2 months. With those, what was she attempting to say? Was she only preserving her tranquility? It's important to remember that Chrissy has never shied away from drama. In fact, she made a profession of speaking out, particularly about her relationship with Jim, during her stint on Love and Hip Hop in New York. Fans and media outlets alike couldn't help but question why Lynn wasn't stepping out to defend Jim Jones because everyone was focused on this dramatic period in their lives, even though her silence remained one of the most talked about parts of his arrest. Showed her direct approach to relationships and her unwavering honesty regarding her love for Jim and their shared highs and lows. Therefore, her silence during this incident felt very out of character. Was it a planned action? Since it may have provided Jim the time he needed to deal with matters behind closed doors without adding fuel to the fire. Several fans theorized that Chrissy's quiet amid a legal crisis was a deliberate move. But a far more fascinating hypothesis started to take shape. Was Chrissy, supporters knew that the world was observing the couple's every action and that Jim's imprisonment happened during a very vulnerable time for them. Their relationship could have suffered as a result of Chrissy's remarks in public. By keeping her thoughts to herself, could Chrissy have been protecting Jim from even more media attention? People began to question whether Chrissy's quietness was a premeditated attempt to maintain some sort of control over a volatile situation as time went on. The emotional toll of public scrutiny, although Chrissy was used to reality TV drama, this arrest seemed different. The emotional toll of being in the public glare for almost a decade cannot be overstated. Chrissy could have distanced herself from the problem due to the private nature of the allegations and the public attention surrounding Jim's incarceration. After all, they had already gone through years of ups and downs and media turmoil. Chrissy's determination to control her emotions for the cameras wasn't the only reason she remained silent. Perhaps she would like to avoid the tumultuous cycle of sensational headlines and scandalous allegations that typically accompany a high-profile arrest, such as this one. Together, she and Jim have gone through a lot, and they have also encountered their fair share of issues with public relations. Chrissy may have been discreetly coping with the emotional toll that the circumstance had taken on both Jim and her. Respects her privacy, particularly with regard to the most personal facets of her life. The arrest and the circus of media around it could have been too much for someone like Chrissy to deal with directly in front of cameras and the general public. When Chrissy Lynn, then 53, decided to speak up, it was the moment we had all been waiting for. However, why now? What had changed for her to finally speak up after months of silence? Realizing that Chrissy had invested years is crucial. Building a reputation as a strong, self-reliant lady, her sudden stillness had sparked curiosity and concern because she had usually been a talkative person. What was happening in the background that made this vulnerability possible? Perhaps it was the mounting strain. As the weeks passed, it became clear that Chrissy could no longer defend her silence as fans sought answers and the media needed a narrative. But more than that, Chrissy wanted to clarify things according to her own rules. The world has seen her for years as the fiery. Chrissy didn't hold back as she began to talk. She described the challenges she had faced and the impact Jim's arrest had had on their personal life. It was unclear, though, if there was more to the narrative than she was prepared to reveal. Despite Jim's past legal troubles, Chrissy's first public remarks on the arrest highlighted the emotional toll it had taken on the two of them. Even while Chrissy was open about how it damaged their relationship and how much they were working through behind closed doors, there was still a sense that something was missing. In reality, what was she concealing? Was she simply unwilling to tell the whole story, or did she hide certain information to keep Jim safe? Many admirers had been waiting for Chrissy Lennon to make her long-awaited remarks. After months of keeping quiet, Chrissy ultimately told Jim Jones more personal details than anybody had expected. It was not your average social media post or interview. Rather, it was a candid examination of the emotions, choices, and challenges that had been bothering her throughout the experience. The condition of their relationship was the subject of several speculations in the weeks after Jim's imprisonment. Some speculated that Chrissy and Jim were set to break up, while others believed the pair were about to part ways. When Chrissy eventually spoke out, many wondered if she had had enough of the turmoil or if something else was going on. Contrary to what the tabloids had said, she added she was not abandoning Jim or their relationship. On the contrary, she had been the one who had supported him the most during his legal troubles. Chrissy said that despite her quietness in the press, she was actively participating in. Chrissy went on to describe the emotional toll of being in the spotlight, particularly when going through a personal issue. People only see what we let them see, even though they believe they know what's happening. She said that despite their challenging circumstances, they had always worked as a team and that she had supported Jim no matter what. It's been challenging behind the scenes. Jim is going through a lot, and I'm right there with him, but I had to hold on to some things. Chrissy's openness about her emotions shocked many observers. She was no longer the tough, unrepentant reality TV star. Instead, she was a woman who had gone through heartache, bewilderment, and fear, and was now willing to be honest about what she had been going through. Her vulnerability was unlike anything we had ever seen. There were times, she admitted, that she just had to keep to herself, even though she could see why the media was interested in their connection. Chrissy's confession exposed something that no one had quite understood. The toll that the arrest had taken on their relationship was the invisible effect of the encounter. The charges and media hysteria weren't the only factors that led to the arrest. It had to do with the help she had provided him throughout this period. How about the future? Would this public controversy be the tipping point for their relationship, or could it endure? Chrissy discussed how, in spite of their years of love and dedication, the public's opinion of their relationship had abruptly shifted after her statements. According to her, Chrissy was quite offended by the suggestion that Jim may be concealing anything or that their connection was founded on misinformation, and the arrest made people question the fundamental basis of their bond. Creighton says she was tired of the bad portrayal of their relationship in the media, but Chrissy's comment about how crucial their friendship was in spite of the challenges struck a chord with her. Although she recognized that things had to change, she wasn't ready to give up on Jim. She agreed that they were both carefully weighing their futures and what they wanted from each other, and they had spoken about ways to improve their relationship moving ahead. It was more than just weathering the storm. Jim and Chrissy would have to confront some difficult realities about their relationship and the choices they've made over the years if they were to survive this public crisis. When Chrissy Lemon revealed her feelings and the difficulties she had been facing, the public's response was swift and divisive. After the arrest, it was about growing as a couple, resolving their differences, and realizing what it meant to be together for the long haul. Her openness about the emotional toll that the arrest had taken won her the support of many people who had been following Chrissy and Jim's journey for years. Chrissy's revelations sparked a lot of discussion among her former coworkers. Some people complimented her for finally addressing the elephant in the room and found her candor refreshing. Others felt that her admission presented a very different picture of their relationship than what followers had been accustomed to seeing from them. Supporters praised her for speaking up and recognized the impact of her remarks, pointing out that it is rare for celebrities to openly discuss personal difficulties, particularly given that Chrissy and Jim have long been portrayed as a power couple, an image that was created both on and off screen. But the barriers of that image were ripped down by Chrissy's most recent disclosure, which exposed the fragility that had been concealed. They believed Chrissy had earned the right to share her perspective because their relationships are often questioned. From Jim's legal troubles to reality TV drama, she had been in the spotlight for a long time, and her bravery in speaking up was considered a show of strength rather than weakness. Furthermore, many people expressed their support for Chrissy and cared about her well-being, seeing her as a lady who had stood with Jim through all the turbulence and thinking that she had made sacrifices for their relationship. Love, but now that it was all over, she needed to put herself first. Many thought that Chrissy was finally acknowledging her weaknesses and difficulties, which resonated with many who had gone through similar experiences. For her admirers, it was a moment of empowerment. Some, however, questioned Chrissy's words' timeliness, arguing that she was airing her personal issues and that her candor was too much for the public to bear. Personal attention-seeking issues, some questioned if Chrissy's support for Jim was as strong as it appeared, asking why she had kept quiet for so long if she really loved him. Did she hold off on speaking out until the arrest was in the news? Did her quiet indicate more profound problems in the relationship? Critics claimed that Chrissy was exposing herself to unwelcome scrutiny and transforming her private life into entertainment by disclosing such intimate information about her relationship with Jim. Others said that while Chrissy's comments for their future were endearing, they were an indication that their bond was weaker than it had seemed. Her remarks about needing to reevaluate the future and make difficult decisions only fueled speculation that their relationship could be at risk of failing. They questioned whether Chrissy could handle the difficulties Jim had introduced into their lives any longer and whether she had reached a breaking point. The idea that Chrissy was unwilling to blindly back Jim any longer. Despite Chrissy's public disclosures, there was one significant question that remained unsolved. What did Jim Jones think of everything that had been said? The atmosphere of expectation was heightened by Jim's relative silence during the media flurry, despite Chrissy's obvious emotions. Would Jim tell the truth, or would he keep his side of the story to himself? Was particularly true following his imprisonment, which many people believed to be the start of the end. Many viewers started to question whether there was more to this story than first appeared as they anxiously anticipated Jim's reaction to Chrissy's frank comments. Would he be appreciative of her support and agree with her, or would he be annoyed that she had chosen to talk so openly about their difficulties? Was Chrissy making the correction in public to gain compassion, or was it just an attempt to safeguard their future? But was she telling the whole truth? Was there a hidden drama we were not yet aware of? The future of the relationship kept both lovers and media critics in suspense.